You can throw the records out the window for this late conference battle, but it is a key matchup for section seeding as the postseason draws closer. It should be a fun one as we have two future Gophers on the floor at Wayzata High School in Plymouth. The Wayzata Trojans take on the Eden Prairie Eagles. Both teams in the top 10 in the Class 4A poll. The last time they met, it was a fireworks display. We'll see if we get an encore. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, and I'm joined by a couple of familiar faces, LaToya Turk and Rudy Ruffin. Rudy, we'll start with you because you are familiar with these two teams. You used to coach for Eden Prairie. You're a Wayzata graduate. You've done a lot of work with Braun. What are you most excited about in this matchup?
I'm excited to see Braun and Nia Holloway battle each other. And it is senior night for Wayzata, so I'm excited to see Mara kind of have fun and go off as well.
I talked to the two of them ahead of time. Both aren't complaining that this is the last time they'll have to play against each other. They'll be teammates next year. The last time they met, Braun had 23 points. Nia Holloway had a double-double. What makes these two so dynamic?
Well, I think it's their length, it's their basketball IQ, and it's the hard work that they put in. And they've played against some really elite level players, so I think they're just ready for the next level.
They certainly are. Nia Holloway with plenty of double-doubles. Braun, 3 20-point games. She missed a few owing to a knee injury, but she's back at full strength. LaToya, Braun and Nia Holloway, they're going to be the headliners tonight. We've seen Eden Prairie a few times. Wayzata, they've got a deep lineup, so there are going to be plenty of other X factors. Who are you looking forward to most?
Well, I'm looking forward to see how the backcourt for Eden Prairie handles Braun tonight. We've seen several players step up on the EP team. One in particular is Savanna. And so she's been putting up some big numbers and having a big presence in the middle. And so I'd like to see how Wayzata counters that tonight.
Savanna Jones with 3 double-doubles, including 2 against St. Michael Albertville in conference play. She also was a perfect 9 of 9 from the floor in Eden Prairie's win over Centennial. And for Wayzata, you've got Shannon, Fornshell, Abby Krzewinski, Bryn Senden. They may not put up explosive numbers compared to Mara, but for Wayzata, it's almost as if Braun is the leader and the rest of the group scores by committee.
Well, you know, it takes a special skill set to be able to play around a player like that and to accept someone's greatness at that level. And so they've learned to adapt to playing with Braun, and they fit in where they get in, and they make it happen every night.
I can't wait to bring you this matchup. I think the two of you are just as excited. Stick around. We'll have the starting lineups in a moment. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to Wayzata High School in Plymouth. It is a festive atmosphere. DJ Mad Madigan from the Timberwolves and Lynx is on hand. We had the Senior Day ceremony where the starting 5, all seniors, and they all got to run through the gauntlet of fans, one of their traditions. Wayzata was really looking forward to this. They didn't get to have this kind of a Senior Day ceremony last year. LaToya, you went through this twice with your daughters, one in dance, one in basketball. What is Senior Day like?
Oh man, it's a mix of emotions because you're so excited and happy, and there's so much work that goes into it, especially behind the scenes, to make sure that the girls enjoy this night. But it's also bittersweet because you know it's coming to an end.
And Rudy, what do you remember from your Senior Day, because you got to take part in this a few years ago at Wayzata?
I do remember ringing the court and going around and seeing all my family and friends here. At the time, I didn't realize how big of a deal it is, but it's a big deal for these girls.
Wayzata starting their seniors, all 5 of them. But the primary position players you'll want to keep an eye on: Sophie Hawkinson, Bryn Senden, Grace Weber, Abby Krzewinski, and Shannon Fornshell. But Julie Stewart, the head coach in her second season, had some nice things to say about the seniors as well. Didn't say anything original per se, anything that would jump out at you, but she was really proud to see how great leaders those 5 on the floor are.
Yeah, basketball is a game of leadership. You know, when you have a player like Mara Braun on your team and she has the task of scoring and winning games for your team, sometimes that glue requires good leadership skills to be able just to keep the team together and keep moving forward throughout the season. It's been a tough year for all of our girls, especially with the COVID precautions and all the different changes that have been going on. One day it's one thing, the next day it's another.
To recap the starting 5, Eden Prairie starting their usual group: Molly Lenz, number 3, Mara Morzani, number 13, Savanna Jones, number 32, Tori Schlegel, number 33, and Nia Holloway, number 41. Of course, Lenz, Morzani, and Holloway, all college prospects. Wayzata starting their seniors, so you'll see Mara Braun, number 10, Siri Prosser, number 23, Caroline Bokovitz, number 30, Laura Hyde, number 32, and Ellie Wildermuth, number 35. Mike Peden, LaToya Turk, and Rudy Ruffin all here with you. And even though we said throw the records out the window, these 2 are pretty solid. Wayzata 15-6, Eden Prairie 17-4. Eden Prairie, this is a big game for them, a win over Wayzata, and it could really help their section positioning over in Section 2, especially with what happened at Minnetonka. That race for the Section 2 title could be up for grabs.
And it looks like right away Wayzata comes out in a zone defense against EP, giving Nia Holloway a lot of space at the top of the key there.
Molly Lenz knocks down the 3.
Molly's going to be a key player tonight to see not only offensively but defensively what she's able to do with Mara Braun.
Lenz and Morzani, the sharpshooters for Eden Prairie, and Nia Holloway can knock down some 3s as well. Holloway fouls Mara Braun. The last time, barring state, that those 2 will play against each other. Rudy, you've got to work with both of them. What have you admired most about their growth?
I think it's their humbleness. They don't go for the clout, and they just play to win, and they just want to be the best girls on the court.
And, you know, that long wingspan that Nia has might pose a little bit of a problem for Mara Braun, but this is the first time I've ever seen Nia play defense on a guard, to be assigned to a guard to play. And so that's going to require a lot of movement for her. We'll see if she's able to produce offensively and defensively tonight, having to cover Mara defensively.
Mara jokingly complained about having to go against Nia Holloway in AAU practice because of Holloway's 6'7" wingspan.
Believe it or not, Mara Braun is actually an inch taller than Nehemiah.
And both basketball track crossovers. Mara Braun, a long jump and triple jumper. Nia Holloway, high jumper and a sprinter. Not surprisingly, the 2 met beforehand. Their parents got together. And Nolana, Nia's mother, noted that even though these are late conference rivals, these 2, Amaya Battle, Mallory Heyer, have all helped bring these communities together. This really is a friendly rivalry.
Healthy basketball.
Not unlike what we saw, LaToya, with Eden Prairie and Como Park when Nia Holloway and Ronnie Porter got to play each other.
Absolutely.
3-0, Eden Prairie with the early lead. Wayzata won the first meeting 65-53.
It looks like Wayzata went back to their zone press. Or zone defense.
Braun with the tip.
And that's what she's best at on defense.
Side fade. Offensive rebound for number 32, Laura Hyde. Braun again. Got it. With Schlegel in her face. Rudy, it's interesting that you note Mara Braun's ability to get steals because she was griping about Nia's wingspan and her ability to rip the ball out. But it looks like Mara, she's just as lengthy.
Yeah, I think it's her timing and her IQ to go and get that ball.
Holloway missing the jumper.
Yeah, and EP's doing a lot of moving the ball, using their inside presence. They do have an advantage in the middle with having Savanna and Nia in the paint, and so we'll see if they can get that high-low to work for them here tonight.
Savanna and Nia, the twin towers for Eden Prairie. Mara Braun lines up the three, in and out. Dead ball rebound to Wayzata. And of course, they're great basketball athletes. Now Wayzata will start to put in their regulars. Bryn Senden and Shannon Fornshell. Shannon having quite the season. 3-ball. Mara Braun looking to get that jumper going. Offensive rebound for Bryn Senden. 3 from the wing. And that is going to be a foul on Eden Prairie. Tori Schlegel on the push-off.
You know, it looked from here like she had good position, but, you know, once again, we're not down on the floor, so they have the better angle.
I know everyone had a few things to say on Tuesday.
My.
For Como Minnehaha.
It looks like the starters have all checked back in.
And Shannon Fornshell gets on the board. Fornshell averaging 11.1, Krzewinski 10.6, providing an effective complement to Mara Braun. Molly Lenz tried to flip it in, couldn't get back in bounds in time.
Yeah, one thing that we've seen EP do a lot of is push the ball. When we did the Como Park game against them, they pushed the ball. They're great in transition. And so you see now with EP having their regulars, with Wayzata having their regular starters in, they're putting a little pressure on them full court.
Braun missed the jumper, but Wayzata crashing the glass. They turn it over to Morjani, and she's fouled from behind by Grace Weber. Morjani, if you don't know, will head to Minnesota Duluth to play soccer and basketball. Came back from an ACL injury in her junior year playing soccer.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No, Myra's different.
Jones pickpocketed. And Wayzata will score on the run out. Abby Krzewinski.
Abby's going to have that advantage on Savanna because she's a little quicker and she can play that guard position.
Schlegel, the freshman. Wayzata showcasing their quickness. A couple of steals now on back-to-back possessions. No three-pointer from Bryn Senden. 6-3 Trojans over Eagles. Mara Braun rises up for the steal.
That is being a defensive headache right now for EP.
Ooh. Shannon Fornshell, she had her back turned to the bucket. She was open initially, and if she had recognized it, I think she would have had a layup.
Yeah, she had a mismatch with Molly Lenz on her.
A break for Eden Prairie, but don't let this start fool you. These are two prolific teams. Holloway on the take, gets her own miss, and lays it in. Once again, those long arms. They're a great perk for someone like Holloway.
Wow.
Wayzata in transition. Braun to Krzewinski.
Wow, what a pass.
Abby's finding all the right spots. She's doing a great job of keeping Savanna off that post and not letting her just receive the ball. And she's running transition and scoring buckets tonight.
Entry pass off the backboard. Wayzata ball, 12:16 to go. I spoke with Julie Stewart briefly, Annika Stewart's mother. Annika, of course, now at Nebraska, and she said the thing about Wayzata, they have a lengthy history, but because they shared the same section as Hopkins, Rudy can attest to this, it's hard to get out of that shadow.
Yeah, it's been really hard the last 20 years just trying to compete with Hopkins. And Wayzata's only beat Hopkins one time in the section finals.
You can make it 21 years this year.
Wow.
That's if Tara Starks has anything to say about it. Look out. But remember, LaToya, the woman in front of you, she was responsible for that victory all those years ago in 2010.
Oh yeah, I've had an opportunity to work with Coach Rudy. She came over and worked out with our girls at Como Park the first year I was there, so I definitely respect and acknowledge the skill set that she brings to the floor.
Fornshell using her length to beat Holloway.
And it goes both ways. LaToya has taught me so much. She's a great mentor. She's just great for the girls basketball community.
Wayzata using their length to full effect. They get the steal. Fornshell up to 4 points. Tip pass. And it will be Wayzata ball. 11:23 to go.
Number 32, Savanna Jones, checks back into the Eagles.
And Savanna Jones will return to the floor.
You can tell about this Wayzata team is that they're confident in their offense. They run their sets and they execute, and they'll continue to run it until they find the right open slip.
Not unlike Hopkins, the coaches are different compared to a couple of years ago, but the pedigree is there. As Savanna Jones couldn't score against coverage.
Abby Krzewinski is making it really hard for Savanna right now.
And she'll pick up the dime as Bryn Senden cut to the basket. Timeout, Eden Prairie. Wayzata leads 12-5. And it is senior night, so we do want to highlight the Wayzata seniors. We'll start with Mara because she's going to Minnesota. Has a few nicknames. One of them is LeBron, but they use her surname for the spelling. Her favorite memory was the 2020 section championship at Lindbergh Center. It was sold out. Tootsie Pops are her pregame rituals. Her advice for younger players: compete hard on the floor, but also be a positive role model for the youth off of it. And to that point, Mara Braun has done a lot of work with Special Olympics. She has done some events with Minnesota United, part of the Unified program. That's a cause Mara cares deeply about, and it has opened the door to so many opportunities, basketball and beyond.
You know, I applaud her for that. I think it's extremely important, especially in today's climate, that our top athletes take a stance on helping and being unbiased towards people who are different. And so it just allows other players to see that. And because there's really no room in the sport for bullying or discrimination or any of that, there's enough for everyone to excel and eat at this game. So best wishes to her. I'm sure there's an endorsement deal out there with her name on it around that.
Rudy might hook her up when she gets to Minnesota, right?
Well, hopefully she'll hook me up.
Can you ask her to include the rest of us?
You know, I will do that. I just told her, hey, you got to save me some tickets for some games.
Eden Prairie will cash in a 3-point ticket. That is Annika Anderson, and that was a badly needed bucket for EP on the ATO.
You know, if Wayzata continues to play that zone, that's one thing that we know EP can do. They can knock down that deep three.
12-8. Here comes Mara on the drive. Can't get the bounce. Braun struggling in the early going, but that's not going to stop her one bit. Molly Lenz barreled her way to the rim and draws the foul on Sophie Hawkinson. Lenz to Jones. Now she goes for the elbow J off the mark.
Lenz is one player that if she really gets going, she can change the trajectory of the game. She's a great floor general, great IQ, and so I'm looking to see her knock some threes down and put some pressure on Wayzata tonight.
I agree. I think Molly Lenz is going to be the difference maker here, along with Nia, but we know Nia is going to get her buckets and get her rebounds.
Holloway with 6 double-doubles this season. Shooting over 60% from the floor. Bullseye! That is Ashley Fritz. That is another difference maker off the bench for Eden Prairie, and just like that, they have cut the deficit to 1.
And that was just showing execution and being patient with your offense there.
Another steal. Holloway pulls up. Swish. Nia looks so smooth out there, whether she's going in or pulling up for that jumper.
You could tell she was thinking, one more dribble and it might have been a charge. So she made the decision to pull up and take the short jumper there.
But when you have that touch, it gives you a plethora of options. Nia Holloway not a one-trick pony. Wayzata will call a timeout as Eden Prairie on a quick 8-0 run. Rudy, you got to work with Nia a couple of years ago when you were on the Eagles coaching staff. LaToya, of course, you've seen Nia. What she has done for this program, not just as an athlete, but speaking of difference makers, she was the co-founder of the Black Student Union along with Kendall Minta at Eden Prairie. So when something like what happened in Minnetonka, New Prairie come up, Nia makes sure her voice and the voices of others are heard.
Yeah, and I'm just so proud and happy that she does that at such a young age, because I know a lot of kids are almost afraid to speak out. So I'm just glad that we have a leader like her in the community to voice her opinion on what's wrong and what's going on.
And LaToya has nothing to say. Rudy said it all. No, Nia, a tremendous athlete. She makes it really easy to root for her, and I can say the same about Mara Braun. That was one reason I was excited to cover this game.
And the cool thing is they're like best friends now, so they really get along off the court too.
Of course. I remember when Nia Holloway was featured on KARE 11, the reporter who interviewed her brought that up, joining her fellow late conference rivals as teammates, as Holloway with the dish, and Ashley Fritz is there for the putback. First Mallory Heyer from Chaska committed. She committed first. Nia followed. Those two started hanging out. Mara Braun followed, and then Nia and Mara got together, and then Amaya Battle joined, and that's when Nia said it was crazy. But I'll never forget, at the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic, as soon as Eden Prairie was done with their game with Lakeville North, Nia found her way to Mara Braun, and those two hit it up. All their parents have told me they can't get enough of each other. They're always hanging out.
And that's the way it should be. I think a lot of times we just got to let the kids be kids, and keep our own politics out of it.
As Nolana was saying earlier, what Nia and Mara and the other Gophers have done as Mara Braun works her way inside, they truly have brought all of these communities together.
Yeah, times have changed a little bit. When I was playing, we weren't friends with the other schools. We were so much of rivals that we always just wanted to compete. But I like to see that the girls in the community can all get along.
And you wonder how much AAU and social media have changed the game, as that will be a traveling violation on Grace Weber, because Mara Braun and Nia Holloway were AAU teammates the last couple of years at North Tartan. And Amaya Battle, I think, was at North Tartan for a time. Mallory played for Fury, but with social media, everyone can hit each other up on Instagram. With AAU, you get to mix it up with players you normally wouldn't see. And so you really get some perspectives that necessarily weren't there when you were playing, Rudy.
Yep.
I think it's a mindset, too. I'm a little older than Coach Rudy, and I grew up playing basketball in the 90s in Minneapolis. And we had some of the fiercest rivals, especially on the south side and north side games, but we were all friends. And so and we didn't have the social media aspect that the girls have now, but it was a mindset. We all had a common goal, and we respected each other's skill set and our differences. So I think it's a mindset. And when you have an athlete that plays at that caliber, you just don't have a lot of time for a lot of garbage.
And Rudy, you were going to say something? Well, Ashley Fritz wants to say something. Can't hit the three. Holloway gets the rebound on the floor. But Rudy, I think you had something to add to this discussion.
Yeah, you know what? I think social media really plays a huge part. I know I'm young, but we didn't have Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and so these girls can really stay connected. And like I said, we didn't. I couldn't use my phone until after 9 p.m. to call, so we weren't talking very much.
Yeah, Rudy and I, we still had limits. LaToya would know that too. Not anymore, thank goodness.
I had a pager. I didn't even have a cell phone. I had a pager.
That goes way back. 6:38 remaining, 15-14. Wayzata jumped out to the early lead. Eden Prairie responded with an 8-0 run. Lake Conference rivalry. They are rivals in this rivalry. Nia Holloway, whoa! Got the bounce. Wayzata fans wanted the charge. I don't know, LaToya. I don't know if she had a lot of contact with Shannon Fornshell, but she gets the 2 points.
You know, we've seen the Wayzata team set up a couple of times to take a charge from her, and Nia's made the decision to do a pull-up jumper. She's going to have to be a little careful with that because the setup is there.
That was close, I will say that much. But Holloway up to 6.
Eden Prairie is playing really aggressive right now, making it hard for Wayzata to get into the lane.
Holloway with the block against Fornshell.
Man, but that pick and seal is great that they're running. It looks really good.
Wayzata's problem is how to get around that 6'1" tower that is Nia Holloway with the Elastigirl-like arms. Morjani for 3. That's short.
And, you know, if they're going to keep leaving Morjani open, I would highly suggest that the weak side rebounder get in position because it's come off twice on their side, and they just haven't been in position.
This time, Wayzata got the high-low they were looking for, but Fornshell missed the layup. Holloway connects with a streaking Fritz, but she couldn't get in position. Oh, boy. And Rudy, you're speaking of Eden Prairie's aggressive defensive posture. That is how they have picked up several wins this season against teams of their caliber. Maple Grove, Lakeville North. If they can stay within striking range in the first half, that defensive energy can wear down opponents in the second half as Holloway adds another block on Mara Braun.
Yeah, Wayzata's having to work really hard on offense, and I think Eden Prairie this year has really picked up their defense.
With Holloway blocking Braun, I should point out that Wayzata, at least amongst themselves, as Jones gets the tip, they're playing for a goat hat. Mara Braun was wearing it before the game, and she said it would be given to Wayzata's best player. Nia Holloway took a good look at that hat, and I think she wants to wear it at the end of this game.
That's so funny.
Oh, Mara and Nia, they met up right away. They're sharing jokes. They've been talking smack, friendly smack, of course. They were looking forward to this one. 3-ball corner pocket for Molly Lenz and Eden Prairie with their largest lead of the game, 2014.
Yeah, you can't leave Molly Lenz in the corner open. She's going to knock that down every time.
And, you know, Eden Prairie's hit a couple of threes now, so we're going to see that zone be extended. It's going to open up Savanna and Nia in the middle. But I just can't say enough about that pick and roll that Wayzata's running and how open that they're getting.
Krzewinski rolling her way for 2. Nia Holloway pulls up, swish.
Wow, her shot over the last year and a half has completely changed, and it looks really good.
Jones with the block. Braun,
No.
cross-court skip. Jones read it. Nia Holloway's evolution, the more I've seen her play, the more I understood why Minnesota made a play to get her. And unlike a lot of other recruits, Nia Holloway did not post her offers, so when she announced she was going to Minnesota, it surprised some people. Even myself, I'm thinking, okay. I've seen Nia play a few times this year, and I had to correct myself.
You know, it's amazing when you support a kid, how much it boosts their confidence and their will and their drive. And so, you know, I would just challenge our folks who are surrounding our players to just instill that confidence in them, and then this is the product that you'll get.
Yeah, and I always say opportunity is key. I think that when you give these girls opportunity, they're gonna show what they have and prove it.
And that's not to say I thought Nia was overrated, but it just goes to show you the work you put in determines what the result will be. So don't pay attention to what people like me say. If you have D1 aspirations, go for it. Foul on Eden Prairie.
Defensively for Eden Prairie, I really like their help side defense rotation too. they're able to take those chances because they know that the rotation is going to be there, which is key when you're a pressure handsy type defensive team.
And you have Nia down low cleaning up everything.
Nia on the bench right now. Although she certainly deserves a break with the hustle she has exhibited thus far, but it could be an opportunity for Wayzata, who trails by 6. Lenz lost it.
Abby again getting her hands in there.
Hawkinson couldn't finish. Eden Prairie with numbers. Jump ball. Wayzata with the arrow.
No free lunch today. No free lunch.
Well, they do say there is no such thing as a free lunch, and Wayzata just reminded Eden Prairie of that. You're going to have to earn that meal. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. Deep 3. Bullseye. Sophie Hawkinson gets on the board.
That's what Sophie Hawkinson does. She's in the game to knock down those threes. And she's only a freshman, but she has so much confidence.
And you can see how her teammates knew that, and so they set her up for that. Got her open and set her up.
How about that flare from Mara Morjani?
That's extremely important when you have players that are coming off the bench or knowing your player personnel, especially if a player calls for the ball and you know they're in a position where that's their skill set. As a teammate, when you're able to recognize it and they're able to score, it only boosts their confidence more.
Morjani knocks down the first free throw. That is the first free throw of the entire game. It's been a clean one so far. Loose ball, and a traveling call on Wayzata. Not a play you're going to fault Grace Weber for. Sometimes when you hit the deck, that happens. An opportunity, though, for the Eagles. Remember, they lost the first meeting, so even a split against Wayzata would bolster their case in the Section 2 seeding race. And Eden Prairie, I don't want to say they need this win, but they lost to Chaska, so they don't have the head-to-head in their favor. This is a crucial game for them. Braun against Holloway. Braun.
Abby's working it. She's working it. I mean, from the very possession of them crossing the half court, you could see her. She was already posting up Fritz. She came up, just even when she received the ball, she wants the ball, she wants to score.
Wayzata turns it over, though. Eden Prairie with another chance. Jones wanted to feed it to Holloway into traffic.
Abby Krzewinski is doing it all. She's playing really tough on defense. And right now she has a mismatch on offense with Molly Lenz guarding her. Yep.
She was open for a minute, but not for long. Lenz with the pick. Morjani. She comes up short.
Good
Wayzata with
hustle
time.
by Grace Weber.
Braun backs off. Draws the foul. Eden Prairie had 2 to give.
And once again, Mara Braun calls Abby up. She knows who's the playmaker with her. And if that foul wouldn't have happened, she would have been open on the slip again.
Wayzata has 2.9. They can do something with it. Braun lost it. It was tip, 1.1. Time for a catch, maybe one dribble. Braun, not quite. A low-scoring first half. Wayzata with the early punch. Eden Prairie with the counter. And the Eagles lead 25-19. LaToya and Rudy. We are seeing 2 intense defensive styles from 2 longtime Lake Conference rivals.
Yeah, not just, that they're intense, but they're accurate. We are not in the bonus. There's no one in foul trouble, and it's a low-scoring game. So they've been playing quality defense for the entire half.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. When the refs let them play, there's not a lot of fouls, and they can just be aggressive on both ends.
So we're going to play some musical chairs for our halftime festivities. A reminder that DJ Mad Madigan from the Timberwolves and Lynx is here. And we'll be back for the second half in this late conference friendly. This is high school girls basketball. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Mike Peden, LaToya, Turk, and Rudy Ruffin rejoining you for the second half of high school girls basketball, but plenty of sights and sounds around the area. Ice fishing in Lake Minnetonka, musical chairs here. It's a festive one on senior night as Wayzata looks for the conference sweep over Eden Prairie, and the Eagles with a split, hoping to stay in the hunt for a possible 1 seed. Nia Holloway leading the way with 8 points and a couple of blocks. Ashley Fritz with 5, Molly Lenz with 6. Abby Krzewinski leads the Trojans with 6. But it was Wayzata who got out to the early jump, 13-5, or 12-5 if I recall. Eden Prairie responded with an 8-0 run, and here they lead by 6. What do you expect to see in the second half?
I don't think there's a lot of changes that need to be made. They're both playing great defensively. They're both executing offensively. We see that Abby's giving Savanna a little difficult time in the post. She's not able to navigate like she normally does. But I also think that if EP keeps knocking down those threes, Wayzata's going to have to switch up their defensive tactics. Also, EP's going to have to find a solution for that pick and roll that Wayzata's killing them on.
And Rudy, your thoughts of the second half? What should we see?
I agree with LaToya. I think that they're going to have to get out on those three-point shooters and maybe switch to a man a little bit. And I think Braun is going to have to start driving to the basket because Nia Holloway is just too long and she's not able to put up the three-point shot.
And the two of you singing praises for Abby Krzewinski. She's no stranger to this environment. She got a lot of varsity minutes as a 9th grader. When Mike Schumacher was head coach at Wayzata, Nia Holloway turnaround, can't get the bounce there.
And speaking of Abby, she's always been a competitor. I had her on my team in 4th grade, and she's been like this since she was little.
So even though Braun is going off to Minnesota, don't count out this Wayzata team. They'll have some solid playmakers coming back next year, including...
That was a key thing that Coach Rudy just said. She had her in the 4th grade. So having a feeder program in your school, it speaks volumes because you're able to consistently knock down those fundamental training skills early. So by the time they get to this level, you can start increasing their basketball IQ and not worrying about can they dribble with their left hand, and shot selection type things. So Wayzata has done a great job of having a consistent feeder program for their girls.
And Nia Holloway feeding Tori Schlegel for the corner 3. Braun inside to Fornshell. Tried to find Krzewinski on the kick out. Braun, a fortuitous series of events, but Braun will take it. Wayzata, they've got to find a way to get some scoring plays. It's 28-21. That could help as Braun strips the ball. And once again, Braun feeding Krzewinski. I think that speaks to the confidence in Krzewinski's ability to create plays. She gets a lot of touches on these sets. Rudy, you mentioned in your day not a lot of friendliness with the late conference rivals. What do you recall, though? Because I know Hopkins, they were the standard bearers, even though they were in that interim between state titles. Eden Prairie, they had some strong teams in your day with Jackie Johnson and Shane Mullaney, if memory serves correct.
Yeah, I think what it was is that we just wanted to win so bad, and they would crush us every year that it became that rivalry, and that we didn't want to be friends. It wasn't that we didn't want to be friends, but we just had such that competitive drive that we only wanted to win against them.
Braun missed the three. But swooping in for the save was number 23, Siri Prosser. Krzewinski passes up the three, goes for the runner instead. Fornshell using her length to get that rebound, and the baseline jumper for the senior, Siri Prosser.
That's what you're going to get when you allow a team second and third offensive shot opportunities.
Fornshell gets the rebound. Siri Prosser, by the way, Illini knew when clementines are her favorite food.
Great little stutter step and acceleration, change of speed there.
No layup, though, for Wayzata. You certainly want to finish against the team you could see in the state tournament. Wayzata will have to get through Hopkins. A tall task, but not inconceivable.
Yeah, last time they played, it was a really close game. I know the score said 10 points, but Wayzata kept close the whole game.
That is making it very, very difficult for Eden Prairie in the paint. Every time the post players even step in the paint, they're getting contact. And Minnesota State High School League rules do state that you can make contact until they receive the ball. And so Wayzata is making sure that Savanna and Nia know that we are here.
And going back to Rudy's point about wanting to win, Mara and Nia certainly do, but I think for them it's more about bragging rights than beating your rival. They want to have some fun with each other, and they probably will. Molly Lenz, she's going to Illinois State in a couple of years.
This has been a really good defensive set for Wayzata.
Molly Lenz penetrates and finishes the drive.
I spoke too soon.
7-point game, 14-02. And going to the line is Ellie Wildermuth.
Eagles personal number 3, Holloway.
Her pregame meal is Jimmy John's Cheez-Its and thinly sliced apples. Her favorite basketball memory was winning state in 8th grade.
So to comment on that, I was coaching them in 8th grade, and we had Mara and Ellie, and it was just a great season for them.
And I bet that's when you knew Mara Braun was going to be great.
Yeah, that was the first time I really had the opportunity to work with her and coach her, and I'd always heard about her, but she truly is an amazing player.
Wayzata's defense is really impressive. I was just commenting earlier on the rotation defense for Eden Prairie, but the ability for your guards to just sit down and be able to play defense and slide and not get beat, they're doing a great job.
They'll be getting a few stops, but they still trail by 7. So they'd like to get some scores on the other end. Braun with the fake on Holloway. That blocking foul at 1. Mara Braun. You were saying, Rudy, that Mara Braun might need to open up that slash of hers, and she just slashed her way to a possible three-point play.
Yeah, I think she needs to get to the hoop and get to the line, and that three-point shot will start to fall.
I want to see the replay on the ref because it looked like he was about to call a charge.
It was close.
With the call for the foul.
Yep.
Mara Braun completes a three-point play, and you know what? After Nia Holloway got a block or two on Mara, I think Mara might have taken that personally.
Yep, it's senior night. She wants to win this one.
When they're close friends, you can get away with that kind of talk because I know they'll be talking to each other after the game. Eden Prairie's going to call a timeout, 30-26. Once again, Wayzata playing that tight, in-your-face defense.
Yeah, and Abby down low is just not allowing them to get that entry pass into any of their post players. So it's just making it very difficult for EP to get into their offensive set.
Looking ahead, next week is the final week of the regular season. Eden Prairie, they have a quick turnaround. They host Austin tomorrow. Austin, one of the top teams in 3A. And they did reschedule their game with Minnetonka to next Wednesday, so the Eagles will get that opportunity to potentially get the split over Minnetonka. LaToya, you and I had our discussion, but Rudy, how do you think they're going to handle the rest of the season? Because you're trying to navigate everything that transpired, but you've also got a really big game against a team you could see possibly in a section final.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I feel like it's going to be a tough rest of the season for them. I think the girls are feeling a little confused, and I think right now everything is up in the air. But they do have the talent to compete, and they've proven themselves all season to be one of the best teams.
Yeah, I agree. They just had a tough sequence of events that happened, and the changes, kind of came fairly quickly there for them back to back. And so the thing about it is that there's next season.
Yeah, they have a lot of young talent, so I think Minnetonka will be a top contender again next year.
Holloway contending on that play, scoring the layup off the feed from Morjani. Wayzata, by the way, gets Minnetonka next Tuesday. So how about Minnetonka's ending to their season as they navigate territory that no one signed up for? And then Wayzata will end the regular season against Minneapolis Southwest. That game should be winnable.
Yeah, that should be a nice last game for them to finish out the season.
Stick with it, regroup, come back next year because like Coach Rudy said, they have all of the pieces.
Three on the way. Bullseye. Ellie Wildermuth gets on the board. It's a three-point game. Jones had an opening for a minute.
I just think with the amount of contact that she's taken tonight, she's just a little flustered.
Yeah.
Wayzata, they know how to utilize space, but they're hit with a foul there. That's the thing. These two teams are not afraid to go at each other defensively. So Wayzata, they're playing super close, real tight, but Eden Prairie, they like to play aggressive too and wear you out.
Eden Prairie does a really good job of getting those long arms into the passing lane and deflecting. They're great at deflecting.
And to prove to your point, Mike, all these kids, they play against each other in AAU, so I think it's just natural for them to go at it.
Molly Lenz saw the baseline for the taking. Well, some played against each other, and in the case of Mara and Nia, they played with each other. Braun for three. Yes!
Play against your little brother, you know his moves, right? And so you know how to cut him off and how to force them to do something different. So they know each other.
Exactly.
Holloway doesn't hit the three, but Mara Morjani tipped the rebound. Here comes the Eagles. They stay with it. Jones missing again.
Wayzata got lucky on that one.
Wayzata fans wanted a foul. Mara Braun, the touch shot, bullseye! Two threes for Braun, 11 second half points, and Wayzata retakes the lead.
And I knew her shot was going to start falling. She's not going to stop shooting.
Yeah, that's the key right there. You just can't stop shooting. If you're off a little bit as a shooter, you got to keep shooting, make those small adjustments.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Nia needed and what she wanted, was to catch somebody on her back.
I believe Wayzata called a timeout. 36-35. Well, this is turning into the battle that was advertised. Mara and Nia stepping up for their teams. And going back to their friendship, I caught up with Mara's mother briefly, and she said, and Nolana agreed, Lindsay Whalen's going to have her hands full because she's going to have to make sure Mara, Nia, and the rest of the Go for Four behave themselves. They all like to have fun with each other.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a really good 4 years, and I know they already get along with some of the older girls at the U, so it's going to be an exciting time for them.
You know, and the workouts in college are so different than your workouts in high school. You learn very quickly when to joke and when to not joke.
Right.
One thing, LaToya and I spoke of this, Rudy, I could see significant playing time for that group of four with Jasmine Powell entering the transfer portal, and they'll get to have Sarah Scalia as a teammate, so I could see Braun and Holloway, for example, or Amaya Battle setting Scalia up for a triple. But those four have a chance. I don't know what their career is going to be like, but they could make an instant impact.
Yeah, I really think they're going to. Like, if you look at Iowa right now, they have Caitlin Clark, who has completely changed around their program, and I think these four will do it for the U of M. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if all four of them start and have Sarah Scalia playing in the point guard and also shooting that three.
It's going to be key to see what their off-season workout's going to look like to get them ready for that transition to the Big Ten level of play.
Holloway with the steal off the errant pass. Lenz. Whoa. Okay, kept her dribble. I thought she used it up.
A little crafty there, a little crafty there.
Oh, yeah, Molly Lenz is too crafty for a sloppy miscue. Otherwise, she wouldn't be going to Illinois State. Anderson feeds it to Holloway. Morjani got it. Goes baseline. And that is Myra Morjani's second field goal.
She does a great job on that baseline, too. She's not afraid, and she knows she has a quick first step, so she puts it right off the glass for her team.
Wayzata goes high-low, and to your point, LaToya, that pass to Morjani was tipped, so that took away the three. Mara saw space on the baseline, went for it, and Nia Holloway saw a lane for the taking.
Yeah, she owned that move right there.
Yeah, someone's going to have to stop Nia Holloway. It looks like she's getting caught, and they're going to her. Oh.
Nice move by Wayzata.
That pick and roll again, and she's so open. There's got to be some better communication from EP on that, otherwise Abby's going to eat off of it.
Right, that was
Holloway.
a great pass.
Abby Krzewinski, so fluid, so smooth. I could see her becoming the centerpiece of this Wayzata team next year.
And she's going for it again. She's like, I got another pick for you.
Braun couldn't connect with Fornshell, but we've got ourselves a tight one, 40-37, 8:15 to go in the second half.
And speaking of Abby, you know, she tore her ACL her sophomore year, so this is really her second year back, and I think as she continues to grow, she will be the spotlight of the team.
Look at the amount of pressure she's putting on her when she's out there. She knows Savannah's not comfortable putting the ball on the floor that deep outside of the lane, and she's just putting a lot of pressure on her tonight.
Yeah, but instead of forcing her to shoot the three, she's being aggressive.
That's a push. And Bryn Senden knew it. You saw her reaction. She was pumped. That's just the first down, Morzani. Again, a clean first half, so no one in any serious foul trouble yet. Not too often we get a game like that. Of course, LaToya, our game on Tuesday, a much different story. Send in on the take, comes up short.
Bryn has such a quick first step, and she usually finishes those.
Holloway showcasing her moves, but that was Krzewinski again. She got the tip.
And in games like this, like, you got to go after everything. You have to go after everything because you don't know what the ref saw. And so, you know, that might have been a questionable call, but that ball was definitely within reach when it was tipped.
And Mara Braun, of course, had a scare. We were speaking of knee injuries. She suffered one in the Lakeville North game, but her doctor told her she was able to play and then aggravated it against Minnetonka. I talked to Mara after that. She said she'd be fine, just would have to play through some soreness. But I know she worked really hard to get back out there. And
yeah, I was at that game against Minnetonka, and it was really scary. But she came back the next game and scored 23, so I think she's going to be okay.
Okay.
Well, LaToya and I went through a similar scare, Rudy. I'll get to that in a minute as Shannon Fornshell knocks down the mid-range jumper. Ronnie Porter injured her knee. I think she, looking back, probably knocked her knee into somebody in overtime against Minnehaha, and I don't know what you thought, LaToya. I was worried that Ronnie might have messed up her knee, but she got back up, and to prove it, she climbed up those bleachers. Now, granted, Como Park's bleachers aren't that big, but she was determined to prove to me and everyone else that she was okay. Nothing to be worried about.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of manifestation and mind over matter, and so a lot of times what your mind tells your body to do, it'll follow. And so we know Ronnie's a go-getter. Ron Dog. Is that it, Ron Dog?
Ron Dog. That's the nickname that Nia gave her, and we just started running with it.
And it's too close to the end for her. She's that kid that if there was something, she'd be out there with some Coban on her knee and a knee brace playing.
Shannon Fornshell, who scored the last bucket for Wayzata, loves to travel. She has been to 7 different countries. I don't know about the two of you. I know I've only been to one other country, and that was Canada.
I've been to 2, but that's a lot of frequent flyer miles.
That is. I think I've only been to 1, Mexico, and that's about it. I would love to travel. I wish I was 17 and had been to 7 different countries.
Well, if we ever get a time machine, maybe we can go back.
Right.
You know what, Rudy? You should hit up Shannon after the game. I know you've got some connections to Wayzata. Let's see what kind of advice, or no, ask her any recommendations.
Yeah, I definitely will ask her. I'll bring that up. She'll be happy.
Her parents up and say, now that she's going to be going off to school, if you need someone to fly as a companion with you,
Exactly.
I have a little free time.
Exactly.
Well, wait, but isn't your daughter going to be playing college by then? And
But we can travel when she's not playing.
6 minutes to go, 1-point game. Holloway off the feed from Fritz.
There was no help side there as Mara was looking because she has to front Nia.
Well, Braun and Holloway so smart about the game. They're not going to make too many mistakes. Braun can't hit the 3. Big chance for the Eagles.
And now we've seen Fritz come in and make some major plays in some games that we've watched her play, and so she also has that toughness on the floor too, which is what EP needs right now.
Scored a season high against Eastridge back in December and made some plays against Como Park. 3 on the way. Oh, that was close. I always get a little nervous when 2 teammates collide on the rebound. Mara's mother was joking with me about my rooting interest, and I said, I can't pick a side.
Mara said lunchtime, right?
Yeah,
she
time
knew she
to
had
eat.
a smaller player on her, and she went to work down there.
That's barbecue chicken, is what Shaq would say.
If Mara sees a mismatch, she's going to eat.
Yeah.
1-point game again. Not a lot of points, but the two future Gophers, that's going to be a foul before the shot, so no high-low for Eden Prairie. But Nia Holloway and Mara Braun, if this is the last time they're facing off as opponents, this is a heck of a way to go out. Both playing high-energy basketball. Mara Braun overcoming a slow start. Nia Holloway with her cunning, her intellect, making things happen. This really is a game where I wish both teams could win, but that can't happen.
It almost happened with the JV game against these two. Double overtime, triple threat, or sudden elimination.
Wayzata with a couple of O-boards, and they'll go to the line. Bryn Senden to shoot two. Both teams, yes.
And being a former post player myself, I'm always interested when I see great post work. And we've seen Wayzata get in great rebounding position, even though Eden Prairie has a height advantage over them. They're getting multiple second chance opportunities, and their roll techniques and getting wide open shots to the basket on their pick and roll are just amazing.
Bryn Senden also takes up track when she's not playing basketball, and the nickname she has for her car is Patricia.
Yeah, I think one of Bryn's most underrated aspects to her is her speed, and that's why she's such a great defender.
Tie game. Fritz can't break the tie, but Nia Holloway gets the rebound. Morjani sees a lane.
Firecracker.
Yeah, she's not going to back down, and she's a lot tougher than she looks.
Well, remember, like Krzewinski, Morjani had to miss her entire junior season due to an ACL injury.
So many times free throws and what they mean at the end of the game, right? And so now we got a tied up game with 3:49 left. And so we see both teams are going to the basket more, so we might anticipate just having a few more fouls called. And so these free throws are going to be critical, especially that we're in the bonus for both teams.
Remember Minnehaha Academy? 8 of 20, and they lost to Como Park in overtime. Jump ball, Wayzata with the arrow. That was Tori Schlegel moving in to intercept the pass. 43-42, 3:41 to go. High stakes game. Wayzata looking for the conference sweep. Eden Prairie looking for a win that would boost their case in the Section 2 seeding.
So when I was coaching, we did a section in training called Finesse the Ref, right? And there are some things that you can do to communicate to the ref without verbally saying anything. And I think Abby on that last play communicated to the ref how she wasn't satisfied with that call.
She'll be satisfied with that three-pointer from Mara Braun. Mara up to 20, her 9th 20-point game of the season. But this game far from done. And a foul! And Wayzata out of fouls to give. That is the third on Krzewinski. Not necessarily concerned yet, but more importantly, Lenz to the line. 1-1.
That we don't see anymore is the fans making noise when there's a free throw going on and the game is this close. Jim should be going crazy right now.
I wish it was, but you can kind of hear the little kids making little noises and sounds. But
well, remember the parents know each other, at least the Brauns and Holloways do. So I think there's a level of respect. Let's let the players settle this.
You go to college, there's no friends there.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Adalia McKenzie is probably looking forward to playing against Nia Holloway, I'm sure. And Mara Braun, made the cut. Bodies on the floor. Nia Holloway considers Adalia one of her role models, so I think there's going to be some friendlies in Big Ten play, but you're right, the atmosphere will be a lot different, a lot more electric. Timeout, Eden Prairie. They have one more in their pocket. 45-45, Rudy and LaToya. To say this is a crucial 221 will be an understatement. What would you draw up if you were in the huddle?
If I'm Wayzata, I'm going to get the ball to Mara Braun. I would set a screen for her to get to the hoop and get to the line so that they can get in the bonus just like Eden Prairie is.
Yeah, and not only just setting getting her open, setting a pick, but use Abby to set that pick so then she has an option. And for Eden Prairie, I just run a set, and just run it, execute it, burn a little time off the clock, and take care of the passes because we know EP's getting in the lane, especially with that cross-court pass.
Quick recap of the game reset. Wayzata, 17 fouls. Eden Prairie with 1 to give. Eagles with 1 timeout.
Oh.
Big three-pointer from Molly Lenz.
That's huge. That was
off
huge.
the inbound. How many times have we seen big plays off of inbound passes?
We talked about Molly being a critical factor tonight, and that was a big play.
Wayzata with the answer. You bet.
Bryn needed that. That was big time for her.
Schlegel up and in.
Gotta get back and play defense and cover your shooters.
Everyone coming up with clutch plays. Oh, sloppy pass. And now Eden Prairie can work the clock.
On that weak side there, Abby was trying to get Mara Braun open to get the ball to her hand so they could run a set, and it just didn't quite work out for him right there.
EP can work the clock, but they're in what I call that danger zone, 1 possession lead. So if you're too lax, Wayzata can sneak up. There's a foul. It will go against Krzewinski. That is her 4th. And Morzani to the line. This is still 1-1. If she makes both, it's a 2-possession game. If not, Wayzata will have a lifeline. Well, then again, LaToya and I, we saw an 8-point comeback for Como Park with 1:20 to go.
Yeah. And I also think that it's a little bit of a gamble to have Abby on Fritz right now and not on Mia Holloway. So we'll see how that works out for them the next possession.
Morzani makes it a 2-possession game. 52-48, 1:06 to go. But as we saw on Tuesday, it's not a done deal yet. Braun pulls up. Swish.
About when you know you got it, you got it.
Right.
Wayzata had 3 timeouts. They'll hold on to them for now.
They're just going to have to play straight-up defense. I wouldn't foul.
They do get the stop on defense. And there's the timeout. You know what, Rudy? There was enough time where I agree with Wayzata. Try to get that stop if you can. If it takes too long, then foul. But Lenz went for the dagger. It didn't pay off. Now Wayzata can tie or take the lead.
Yeah, and I would obviously look for Mara, but the other girls need to be open as well because Eden Prairie is going to double her or they're going to play really tough defense. So either Abby or Bryn are going to have to step up.
And LaToya, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't. You definitely don't need a 3. You have plenty of time to run a set, which they do a very good job of doing that. And so I would just sit down and go to my bread and butter. Like you say, have everyone else ready, but I definitely want the ball in Mara's hands, and I'd have Abby be her co-defendant tonight.
And keep an eye out for Abby Krzewinski. As you noted, LaToya, Wayzata, they've run that pick and roll set a couple of times. They've gotten a few buckets out of it with Krzewinski, so if Mara Braun, if she can't find an opening, I wouldn't be surprised if she starts looking for Abby.
Absolutely.
52-50, and Wayzata has plenty of time, 34 seconds. You don't need a 3, a 2 will do. We had overtime in the JV game. I suppose it would be fitting if we had overtime here. What a game. The big names coming up big. Everything you could want in this late conference rivalry. 30 seconds. EP still has a foul to give if they wish to use it. Krzewinski got it!
Now they just need to play straight up. Do not foul this team because they are 78% from the free throw line.
Lenz pulls up.
Wow, good rebound, Shannon.
Braun
For the win.
to Krzewinski, no!
For the win. Shoot it.
For the win! And we're going to need 4 more minutes to settle this. LaToya, you and I have some kind of magical property because we had overtime with Como Minnehaha. Rudy, I hope you didn't plan on going anywhere tonight.
No, I'm excited for this. I'm here for the long run.
But this is where the foul tally could come into play. Abby Krzewinski has 4 fouls, and remember, they carry over. On Eden Prairie's end, Schlegel and Fritz have 3. The Eagles still have a foul to give. Wayzata in the penalties. So, what do you expect in these next 4 minutes?
Yeah, so with both of these teams, they're defensively sound. So when you're a shooter and you have the ball in your hand, you really can't worry about if you're going to get fouled. I would concentrate more on making my shot because it's not a lot of excessive fouling here. And so making my shot and my teammates getting into rebounding position so that there aren't second chance opportunities on the defensive end, and it puts us in a place to get offensive rebounds, and that's for both teams.
LaToya and Rudy, you probably have been in your share of overtime games. In those huddles, when you're talking to each other, when you're out on the court, what do you tell yourself? What do you tell your teammates?
Like LaToya says, it's a mindset. So they need to come in and execute what they do and just make sure that they're running their offense and running their defense and playing like they know how to play. And I think the more in-shape team is going to finish this out.
Yeah, and it's physically taxing because they're used to playing X amount of minutes, and now we've added on 4 additional minutes. And so this comes into, as a coach, have you prepared your kids? And are they in shape? We're this deep in the season, so you'd hope they are. And both of these teams, I don't think that's going to be an issue for either of them. And then you worry about the foul count, which both teams are in a good place right now.
We're going to have a do-over because, as you know, with overtime, it's a tip-off, so no one had the possession arrow. Julie Stewart and Ellie Weesey, they've seen their share of tight ones. Both have tremendous respect for their players. Eden Prairie wins the tip. Ellen Weesey, highly supportive of her players as they stepped up and responded to what happened at Minnetonka. And Julie Stewart, a longtime fixture with this program. Her daughter now playing Big Ten basketball at Nebraska. That would be Annika Stewart, in case you're wondering. Holloway draws a foul, and that's on...
I think it's on Shannon Fornshell.
Tough to read the numbers sometimes. Nia Holloway to the line. 85% free throw shooter. To your point, Rudy, EP has a lot of sharpshooters at the free throw line.
Yeah. So Wayzata does not want to put them at the line.
And shooting free throws is a skill set that anyone can master. So at this level, if you're shooting under 70%, you just need to get in the gym and get those shots up.
I wonder between the two of you, who would win a free throw shootout if the two of you decided to square off?
Shoot free throws.
Oh, I could shoot free throws too. That's the one thing. Well, when I'm training girls, I'm like, you have to make free throws.
I've got an idea after the season. We'll set this
up.
Rudy and LaToya.
Let's do it.
We'll do a free throw scrimmage.
I'm ready.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, we should.
Well, hey, Andrea Hubbard did that at Stillwater last year. She did a free throw challenge, and that led to me donating a few bucks. And Mara Braun wants to donate a few points. Can't hit the 3, but Wayzata gets the rebound. 3 minutes to go. Fornshell around her defender and in.
That's a mismatch for Shannon. So if Tori is going to guard her, I think they should go to Shannon down low.
And that was pure confidence on her side. She was calling for it. She knew she had her.
Yep. She took her time, too.
Julie Stewart highlighted Fornshell's playmaking. Nia Holloway, she can make plays too. Count it!
Nia's getting it done underneath there. Abby's completely taken Savanna out just by putting that additional physical pressure on her and has her a little discombobulated. But Nia understands the assignment tonight.
She does.
Nia Holloway with her 7th 20-point game this season.
I think it's time for Braun to maybe guard Nia for a little bit because Abby has Savanna and she's in foul trouble.
It goes back to that twin tower. Nia Holloway times the pass. Can't. Oh.
That was great hustle, though. That was great hustle.
As a fan, you're like, if Nia was just 1 inch closer, she would have had a straight line to the bucket.
Yeah.
You certainly won't falter for that.
Her and me and Braun having dialogue there about that.
2:09 to go. I was going to say, Eden Prairie, you've got those twin towers. Braun sinks the 3.
That was huge, but that's what she does.
Recognized the switch. Nia was no longer on her. She had a different defender on her, and she shot that from deep.
Yeah, she did.
That's what makes players like Mara and Nia so lethal. Not only do they have great ability to create, but they can capitalize on those switches. Oh my goodness. Molly Lenz with the elbow jumper.
That's a great mid-range game.
These two heavyweights throwing punches with impunity. Holloway with the tip, but Senden hangs on to it. Wayzata has plenty of time. Don't need a 3 necessarily. Braun on the fadeaway. Oh my goodness!
Absolute beast mode right now.
Yeah, she is.
And that whole play, that whole offensive play, she was trying to direct traffic and call for the ball. There were several times that she was open and she wanted it, and they just couldn't get it to her.
Yeah, you can tell her she was speaking to her teammates on what to do.
Communication is so critical, no matter the sport. Braun and Holloway do it well. Eden Prairie calls a timeout. Now, they didn't add it to the board, but each team does get an additional timeout, so Eden Prairie should have 1 left. I don't know what else to say. Everyone is coming up with big plays. I mean, this is an instant classic. We're not talking about, if this team struggled. I mean, really, both teams have put themselves in position to win. Yep. I don't know what else there is to say.
It's just really great basketball. It's always a joy to watch the young ladies, especially we've been able to watch them for so long and see them play good quality basketball at this point in their career.
Rudy, Eden Prairie with the ball. They are in the double bonus, so do you try to draw a foul? What do you do if you're the Eagles?
I think the Eagles are going to work it around and try to take some time off the clock. And I think they're going to either go to their 2 big girls or top 2 girls, Molly Lenz or Nia, and they both can get to the hoop and draw contact.
They certainly can. And remember, Eden Prairie in the double bonus, so if they draw a foul, it's 2 free throws automatically.
The one thing they're going to have to do is take care of the ball and make good, solid, clean passes, because Wayzata they're in the lane, they're handsy, and they're picking off passes.
Both teams are effective in that area. 40 seconds. Schlegel needs help.
Great defense.
And a foul. And there's another example of that friendly sportsmanship. Molly Lenz goes to help up Mara Braun, so whatever happens, there will be no bad blood between these two.
Exactly what we said. They're in the lane, they're handsy, and you got to make good passes.
Now Wayzata has a chance to win it.
See how long it takes for the switch to happen to get Nia off of Molly there.
Got to take care of the ball.
Eagles out of fouls to give.
I think they're going to hold for one.
No, they won't. They throw it away. 10 seconds, timeout.
And she really called for a timeout in 14 seconds. But she couldn't get the ref's attention until 10-9. So plenty of time to get a shot up and to win the game. And once again, you got to get the ball in. You have a team that can force a 5-second call. So you got to get it in, and then you got to take care of it quickly.
Rudy, who do you draw a play for in this situation?
I'm going for Nia because they're in the bonus, and she knows how to use her body, and I think that she's smart enough to create contact and draw the foul, and she's going to knock down her free throws.
And especially if they don't have Abby playing defense on her, you definitely go to Nia.
Yeah.
And don't forget about Molly Lenz. She has 17 points. She is connected on a bevy of clutch buckets in these final few minutes. So if Nia Holloway, if she gets doubled or she gets covered, keep an eye out for number 3.
Yeah, number 3 definitely should be an accessory tonight. Yep, I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Molly Lenz. They've gone to her a few times after the timeout. And because everybody's looking at Nia, they kind of forget about Molly. But all 5 of these girls can score.
That's what makes these two teams so fun to watch. You have other playmakers, so it doesn't always have to be Holloway and Braun for the heroics.
It's the same setup.
Yep. This must be their bread and butter. 7 seconds left.
Lenz! No! Holloway! Yes! Hold up. Did Wayzata call a timeout? No, they did not. Wayzata did not call a timeout. Holloway with the game winner on the second chance bucket. I don't think you drew that play up specifically, but Nia Holloway, so efficient down low. She comes up with perhaps the biggest bucket of her senior season, if not her career.
We have to remember that she is a state high jump competitor, so, perfect to put, if you notice, Molly drove on the left side, Nia was on the right side ready to clean it up.
Yeah, and I guess the moral of the story is you got to box out.
Especially with someone like Nia, but what a game. Eden Prairie wins 61-59, and they get the series split with Wayzata. A big win on their resume. Wayzata, they have a couple of big games coming up on their own. They'll regroup and look at Braun and Holloway sharing a chat. We'll see if we can get them up here when we return because they put on a show fitting of their D1 status. We'll be back in a moment. Eden Prairie beats Wayzata 61-59. Joining me are a trio of athletes who I can't tell if they were playing a basketball game or engaging in a heavyweight title bout. That's what it felt like. Mara Braun, Nia Holloway, Molly Lenz. And this is one of those games where you hate to see one team lose. But Mara and Nia, I know you were excited for this rematch. And I guess if there's any way to go out, if this indeed is the last time you play each other as opponents, it's only fair that you get the series split because between the two of you, I would call it a draw. I'm not stupid enough to give the edge to one, but for the two of you, how fun is it? How special was it to go out with an overtime game?
I think it was worth it for everyone here. Obviously, I'm glad that I'm done playing against her, at least for now. Maybe we'll meet each other in state, but I mean, it's always a battle with her, and obviously coming from being on the same AAU team and then having to battle each other in the late conference, it's special, and to be able to play with her next year is pretty cool.
Yeah, just what Mara said. It's so fun to be able to play against each other one last time since we're going to be teammates for a long, long time after this. But I'm really glad it was a good game like it was.
And Molly, you're no stranger either because you're in that North Tartan family as well. What does it mean? Because we were talking about how this late conference rivalry a few years ago, it maybe wouldn't be as friendly as it is, but to be part of this extended family and to play in such a tight game, how cool is it for you?
I think it's super cool, especially like now that I'm on Tartan and I know like more people on all the teams. It's more fun to play against your friends, so I just really like it.
Something your parents noted in the case of Mara and Nia is how the two of you and the other two members of the Gophers freshman class, how you've been instrumental in bringing communities together. These two schools that maybe wouldn't have a lot of reason to share. We saw the two of you got together for the Star Spangled Banner. Everyone interlocked with each other. How has this friendship of yours grown since the two of you found out you were going to be future teammates?
I mean, we kind of clicked from the beginning, but I think it's just important for people to know that basketball is more than just a game, and it's about the friendships, and obviously the competition's really hard on the court, but we have a lot to represent off the court too.
Yeah, basically what Mara said. I think building those friendships off the court just makes the game more special when you get to play against each other. And like Mara said earlier, it's a lot more than just a basketball game. And I think it's important that we use our platform to show that.
And I think you also demonstrated what grit and hustle and not giving up look like. This was an intense game akin to a heavyweight battle. Every time one team threw a punch, the other team was ready. So, Mara, you had a slow first half. You were soaring from that point on. How did you flip that switch?
I just wanted to win the game, honestly, and I was going to do whatever it takes. And obviously we came up short, but it was to a really good team. So, I mean, we worked hard, we fought, and they just came up this time.
Nia, was that the first time you hit a game winner?
No, I hit some before, but I think that one was really special to us, especially since we lost the first time. I really wanted to get my team the win this time.
And Mara's shaking her head, but you know what? Now you see what Nia done. Now you've got a little glimpse. So when the two of you are teammates next year, you'll know exactly what to do. But Nia, your work on the boards has always been on point, and it was that putback that got you the win. We also noted that you might be trying to one-up Ronnie because she hit that buzzer beater to force overtime against Minnehaha, and you were telling me you're not ready to give up that legend nickname yet, and you really meant that.
Yes, I did.
So in that final stage, you've been through this before. It's stressful no matter what the score and the time is. So the seconds are ticking away. What do you tell yourself?
Just play to the end, really. You never know when the game's going to be over. Whatever score is on the clock, you just know that there's more game left to play. So I think just playing to the very end is what I did.
Well, one of those players who helped you get to that point was Molly. You hit a lot of clutch buckets in the end. That jumper of yours, a couple of baseline moves. So when you're in an overtime situation, what do you tell yourself?
Just to be confident and remember that there was a lot of time left on the clock. Like, we started out with 4 minutes, so just be patient. Yeah.
And for the three of you, what do you enjoy most about this rivalry? And I guess what are you and Mara and Nia, what are you going to miss now that, unless you meet in state, this is probably the last time you'll have to face each other?
I mean, it's always competitive in the late conference, so there's always going to be some sort of battle down there. So I think we're always just super excited to play each other whenever that is.
Yeah, I'm sure in practice next year we'll be battling against each other some more. So I'm glad that we could end this rivalry in a tie, unless we meet you guys again in state.
That's a good
Wow. Already?
Yeah. It's a tie.
Molly, you have anything to add to this?
It's a tie for now.
It's a tie for now. Well, if you meet in the All-Star Series, I don't know how that team dynamic would. Well, I know, Molly, you can't play in it yet because you're not a senior, but the two of you, maybe you'll be on separate teams and if state isn't the rubber match, maybe that would be. But this was a lot of fun, and thanks for putting on this showcase. Before we go, you want to say hi to anybody?
No. No. I think everyone I want to say hi to is here, so.
Agreed.
I'm good.
I think they're getting sick of this question after the end of the season. Well, thanks again. Congrats on the efforts, and I know all the work that you do outside of it with Mara on the Special Olympics, Nia, with your work in the Black Student Union at EP, and Molly, I know you get to be a witness to all of this. Not only are you outstanding athletes, the three of you, no, seriously, the three of you are future leaders. So wherever you end up, basketball and beyond, I've got a feeling we're going to hear about you. Just don't forget about us little guys, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Of course not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mara Braun, Nia Holloway, and Molly Lenz. That wraps up our coverage here from Wayzata High School in Plymouth. For LaToya, Turk, and Rudy Ruffin and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching.